Mount Hope Farm in Bristol, Rhode Island is the quintessential saltwater farm with 127 acres of open fields, meadows, pastures, woodland, ponds, streams, and a medley of historic buildings. Here's a bit of history. On July 12, 1677 at Windsor Castle, King Charles II of England, through a King's Grant, allowed the purchase of Mount Hope. Nathaniel Byfield, along with 3 other wealthy merchants, purchased it at a cost of £1,100.
In 1676, this land, which was called the Mount Hope lands, the King of England, it took 4 years for the communications to get back and forth, basically okayed the selling of this land. It was 4 merchants in Boston that purchased it and basically set out, basically it was a real estate endeavor, which is the town of Bristol today. And in the Grand Deed, they said that once 60 families established and agreed to live in town for a period of 3 years, that the town could be incorporated. And that happened within a year. So by September of 1681, Bristol becomes incorporated as a town.
In its 325 years of history, Mount Hope has had a dozen owners, some descendants of previous owners.
And one of the owners later on became Governor Bradford, and he lived in this house for many years, called the Bradford House.
Rudolph Haffenraffer purchases the property, that's Governor Bradford Farm, in 1915. He is an early Rhode Island industrialist.
In 1999, the Mount Hope Trust in Bristol acquired the Mount Hope Farm from the Haffenraffer family.
1976, the Governor Bradford Farm, or Mount Hope Farm, was placed in the National Register of Historic Places on the occasion of the 200th anniversary of the bicentennial of the United States. And in 1999, it became property through a bond issue of the Mount Hope Trust.
The mission of the Trust is to preserve and protect the integrity of its natural assets and its historical structures, such as the Governor Bradford House, which currently serves as a 4-room bed and breakfast.
This was the original design of a house that qualified to be counted as a settlement of Bristol or town. And so it had to have a 2-story structure, and it had to have at least 1 and 2 rooms on the first floor and one and 2 rooms on the second floor. And then these were added subsequently as the family grew and as the resources grew, to enable them to have more space.
The house is Georgian in architectural style. One of the hallmarks would be built about 1745. You'll notice the very large, or the bold moldings, which is a hallmark of that era.
Many of the rooms have had certain alterations, but the windows, which are 12 over 12 original, the mantel is from the 1840 period. And then when the Haffenraffers came, they, of course, renovated themselves, but what you're seeing in the painting and the medallion is the designer showcase work of 1999.
The column capitals, which represent open books, are probably designed from memory, because at that point they didn't have architectural plan books or pattern books. It was just basically done from memory by local wood carvers and carpenters of what they knew. They remembered seeing columns in England, Ionic columns, and they knew they had the ram's horns, and they did something that is very similar to it.
Mount Hope Farm is a special place to be enjoyed by all who pass through its gates. It is an historical tutorial of our town, state, and national heritage.
Well, the Historical Society asked us to come and sort of provide a little colonial color with the colonial, mansion house there in the back. We're camped here because the original 2nd Rhode Island Regiment camped here right after the Battle of Rhode Island. We were part of Lafayette's division, and after the campaign to take Newport from the British during 1778 failed, and they had to fight the Battle of Rhode Island as a defensive action. Eventually they got off the island, and this division was assigned to guard Bristol Ferry and Bristol Neck, Bristol and Warren, Barrington, and probably even the bridge up at Swansea.
I was a scoutmaster formerly of Troop 3 in Bristol here, and I can remember the days camping up here. In fact, some of the troops that were here didn't even know where Bristol was, and never mind the farm here, but they went away with a lifetime of experience here because they try to bring the history of what this whole farm was about, the Native Americans. in Massasoit and what took place all those years, and how many acres they owned here, and what the colonists had done. And it was quite a revealing history.
So we're opening Mount Hope Farm to the people of Bristol because this really belongs to the people of Bristol. And I hope that today all those who come will walk around, will go down to the Cove Cabin, which is a wonderful log cabin that has a view that no one else in Bristol has. You can look up and down the bridge, the bay, you can see the Mount Hope Bridge and the Newport Bridge from the property there, and it's unobstructed.
Mount Hope Farm offers visitors an array of breathtaking scenes. Whether you're here to enjoy the scenery, to meditate, to relax, or to experience the feeling our forefathers felt in this beautiful setting, you will find yourself wanting to come back again and again.